You know that sound your dog makes? That long, kind of soulful howl? Well, it's not just noise. It's actually a direct line to their wild ancestors, a form of communication that's not only fascinating, but believe it or not, you can totally train it.
I mean, of course you have, right? It's that mournful, piercing sound that just stops you in your tracks. It can cut through a quiet night or just suddenly erupt when a siren goes by. But here's the thing. That sound is so much more than just a sound. It's like a little piece of living history. It's a vocal artifact, this ancient language passed down from wolves, but, repurposed for life in your living room.
So, are you ready to jump in? We're about to decode what your dog's howl really means. And then, the really fun part, I'm going to walk you through step by step exactly how to teach your dog to howl on command.
Okay, so to really get your dog, we have to go back to the source. We've got to talk about the wolf. Because the howl, it's a primal tool, literally engineered for survival, and its original purpose is the key to unlocking everything else. Let's break down the actual physics of it for a sec. Barks, think of them like short, sharp alerts. They're like urgent little text messages. Howls, on the other hand, they're these long, flowing acoustic streams designed to carry for miles. It's the original long-distance call. And for a wolf pack, this vocal toolkit is literally a matter of life and death. A howl is like a vocal GPS beacon to find scattered pack members, it's a rallying cry before a hunt, and it's a powerful no trespassing sign to warn other packs to stay away.
And we're not talking about just some simple sound here. A single wolf's howl is incredibly complex. It's got this rich range of frequencies and harmonics. You can almost think of it like a musical chord that's just packed with information. So the big question is, how did this wild survival tool end up adapting to life on the couch? Well, domestication completely changed the game. It linked the howl way more to a dog's environment and, of course, their relationship with us. And check this out. This chart illustrates the change perfectly. There was this fascinating study that found that ancient breeds like huskies, the ones genetically closer to wolves, are way more likely to howl back when they hear a howl. But modern breeds, like retrievers, they tend to bark instead. Barking has kind of become their main way of talking to us.
So what does this actually mean for you? Well, it's pretty simple. If you've got a husky or a beagle, you've probably got a natural-born howler on your hands. If you have a golden retriever, maybe not so much. Just knowing your dog's breed is a great first step to setting some realistic expectations.
The big takeaway here is that context is everything. A modern howl can mean so many different things. It could be, "Hey, I'm here," or just a response to a siren. It could be a cry of loneliness, a signal of pain, or even pure joy when they sing along with you. To figure it out, you basically have to become a dog detective.
All right, you ready for the fun part? We've talked about the why, so now let's get to the how. We are going to teach this ancient language on cue, and we're going to use a method that's super effective and also really kind to your dog.
The entire method is built on one simple, powerful idea: positive reinforcement. All it means is that when your dog does something you like, you give them something they love. It's that easy. And honestly, it turns training into a fun game you can both play.
And here is our roadmap. We're just going to follow these 5 simple phases. First, we get the howl to happen naturally. Then, we mark that exact moment. After that, we add our verbal cue. We slowly fade out that initial trigger, and finally, we shape it into that glorious howl we've been waiting for. So what do you need to get started? Just 3 things. First, some amazing treats your dog would do just about anything for. Second, a precise marker, like a clicker or a sharp yes, to pinpoint the exact moment. And third, you gotta have lightning-fast timing. Okay, so once your dog gets the basic cue, we can really start to level up. This is where we go from just a fun trick to a reliable, precise skill that they actually understand, even when things get a little tricky. Now, this part is super important. We don't want our dog to just learn a general make noise command. We want them to know the specific difference between the cue howl and, say, the cue speak. In the dog training world, this is called stimulus control, and it's really the sign of a well-trained dog. To make that cue absolutely rock solid, we use a pro technique called the 4 Ds. First step is duration. Can they hold that howl just a little longer? Then there's distance. Will they do it from across the room? Next is discrimination. Do they only howl for howl and not, for a banana? And finally, distractions. The trick here is to master 1 D at a time. That's how you set your dog up for success.
Okay, now we're at what might be the single most important part of this whole explainer. Look, teaching an on switch is a ton of fun, but teaching an off switch, that's what makes you a really responsible dog owner. And you know what? It's surprisingly easy to do. While your dog is howling, just put a really good treat right up to their nose. They'll stop howling to sniff it. The split second they go quiet, you say, quiet, mark that moment, and then give them the treat. See? You're rewarding the silence, not the act of stopping. But of course, we all know training is never a perfect straight line. Every single dog is different. So what do you do if you hit a roadblock? Like, what if your dog is a little shy, or maybe one that gets a little too into it?
The key here is just to be flexible. If your dog is hesitant, reward even the tiniest little huff or grumble to build up their confidence. If they're getting overexcited, just keep your training sessions short and sweet. And always, always watch for signs of stress, like yawning or lip licking. If you see those, it's time to end the session on a happy note.
So, at the end of the day, teaching the how is way more than just a cool party trick. It's really a gateway. It's about opening up a two-way channel of communication with your dog. By learning to ask for and shape this ancient behavior, you're also learning to listen more closely to what your dog is trying to tell you every single day. The real question is, what will you hear?